When's the last time you saw him, sir?
About 3 years ago. It was with another friend of ours, Buddy. Jenny's now Lenny's murdered. That leaves me. I'm gonna have to excuse myself, Lieutenant, if you don't mind. I'm afraid I'm not fit company.
I understand, sir. It must be a terrible shock.
Is there anything else I can do?
Well, there is something, sir.
Tell me.
Maybe not, sir. Maybe some other time. Not under these circumstances.
They're my circumstances, Lieutenant, not yours. Go ahead and ask.
Is it all right if I make myself an ice cream soda?
Hello, Columbo fans. This is Steve.
And this is Sean, and welcome to the first episode of Season 2 of the Columbo Confab podcast. Greetings,
Wow.
everybody. Yay.
Second season.
Yep.
That's incredible. So,
Yep.
for everybody to know, we do 5 episodes a season.
Mm-hmm.
And then hopefully everybody's enjoyed the first, and will carry on with us for the second.
And so far, it looks like people have been enjoying the first one, the first season, but I haven't gotten any feedback. But we'll tell you how to do feedback later. Listen to us talk about.
Or they hate the show, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. Those two fuckers on the Columbo Confab pod. Shara Denise probably listens to this, and she's going to send us hate mail.
Oh, I love hate mail.
Yeah. But this episode, we're going to talk about from the 90s, from 1989. I say the 90s, but there are obviously a few that are in the late 80s.
Mm-hmm.
From 1989, Murder, Smoke, and Shadows, starring Fisher Stevens as Steven-Spielberg. Alex Brady.
I know, and it's so funny because obviously they shot this episode on the Universal Studios tour a lot, where they had the Jaws shark and the other earthquake. I don't know what movie that's from, but
Man, yeah.
So the Jaws obviously is a Spielberg movie. I definitely got the impression this was supposed to be a Spielberg-like character.
Oh yeah.
And Universal owes him, by the way, big. So I was really surprised. And being that Columbo is a NBC Universal property.
Well, there's also the factor that Steven Spielberg directed the first official episodic,
That's right,
episode of Columbo, and but they have made another small nod to Steven Spielberg in the past in the 70s, which we'll get to that when we get to that. Yeah, and it's really annoying, but yeah, this is Fisher Stevens. Let's see, who else is in this? A bunch of people I don't know, and a lot of them who are dead. But I just want to say, I didn't realize that my DVD was this old. Oh. But when I popped it in, that sounds kind of dirty when I popped it in. When I popped it in, there was a commercial for HD DVD on it.
Wow.
HD DVDs. Yeah, remember those?
That's over 10 years old, maybe 15?
For you kids... For you kids that don't know about that, about the same time that they came out with Blu-ray, they came out with this thing called HD DVD, which was basically the same thing.
Yeah, Betamax of VHS. Yeah.
Exactly, and the boxes were smaller, like the Blu-ray cases, except they were red. But I don't know what happened. I went to a friend's house one time, and he had a whole shelf full of them. And I'm like, Bill, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry about HD DVD. But, it didn't survive.
Well, interesting enough, fun fact, now, I was working for Universal Pictures when that all came out.
Ooh.
And Universal Studios was back. The studios separated on who would back HD DVDs and who backed Blu-ray. Now, Sony was the big one for Blu-ray, and Universal was backing HD DVD, so that's why you saw the commercial. And so, funny enough, you would pretty much only find Universal movies on HD DVD.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Why do they have to fight like that? I don't know. That's a topic for a different podcast. But okay.
I do want to mention. Okay, so you were talking about actors, and the person who played Ruth, was it Ruth or Rose? Ruth.
Well, Ruth is the girlfriend. Rose is the secretary.
Right. So I've seen her before in Columbo, and it's something we haven't reviewed yet. But it was the one she did with William Shatner, and he's a radio.
Oh yeah.
She plays the daughter.
Uh-huh.
So it was in the 90s side of Columbo. So apparently, she was pretty popular with the program.
Oh, God. Watching this makes me feel so old because I remember watching it when it first came out on TV. And whenever I do this, I go on IMDb and I'm like, oh, what has he been in? What has she been in? And these people are very old now. Fisher Stevens does not look like he does in this movie. Oh, fun fact, by the way. If any of you live in the Austin area and watch TV during the day, Fisher Stevens in this looks exactly like my boss, Ted Lorenz, who was a...
Interesting.
Yeah, so nobody cares about that, but
so,
I couldn't help it.
Well, I know Fisher Stevens from two films. Mm-hmm. One, absolutely horrible, the Mario Brothers movie. And two, where I think most people will recognize him in the strangely racist role of Ben from Short Circuit. He was the Indian programmer.
Are you serious?
Yes.
He played an Indian guy in a movie?
Yes, and it was very Apu sounding. Like I said, it's probably the most racist reenactment of an Indian actor, or a character, I should say. But yeah, you remember Short Circuit, right?
I saw it, when I was little at the movies, but I don't remember anything about it, and I have no reason to watch it again.
No.
Wow. I know that he was in something like some computer movie, Hackers maybe, or something like that. But
was he in Hackers? Yeah, I think he was. Like he was in charge of some big corporation.
I think so. He was in a movie also called Reversal of Fortune that came out the same time that this did. The only reason I saw that was because it won Best Actor, and he plays a scumbag in that. And he was also in Lost. Fun fact.
He played a scumbag in that too.
Well, no, he played a doctor
No?
in Lost.
Oh,
He was. I don't remember what season it was. I know that you haven't seen it, but for folks who have seen it, it's the season where they introduce the crew of the aboard the boat. And fun fact, also for you Lost fans, his victim in this episode is an actor who plays Leonard. Mm-hmm. Is an actor who was also in Lost, and he plays the guy that Sawyer shoots in Australia. He works at a little food truck.
Interesting.
So
and so Stevens plays a character named Alex. What was the last name?
Brady.
Brady. Thank you. So Alex is probably one of the slimiest.
Oh my God.
Characters I've seen so far in the limited amounts I've watched. He is so. I mean, you really hate him. I mean, he's just cocky. He's an ass.
He is an absolute bastard.
Do you think Spielberg is really like that?
I don't know if somebody was trying to make a point. You hear that about people that are like really famous. Like sometimes you hear like, oh, Ellen DeGeneres is a real bitch. I'm like, no, don't say that. I don't want Ellen DeGeneres to be a bitch. I don't know. But you can't get that high in Hollywood without stepping on a few toes.
That's true. And I mean, it's definitely Spielberg because, I mean, even before I even started reading up on what other people thought of the episode, I myself thought, oh God, that's got to be Spielberg. That's who they got to be talking about. That's who they're framing this on. But yeah, so I like the Universal Tour thing. Now they've used it before, and I can't remember the name, but it was another William Shatner one. But he plays a TV murder detective,
and they show the shark.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're standing there on the pier, and the fake shark pops up, and Columbo goes, "Is that the shark from Jaws?" Which is interesting because as he got older, he forgot the name of the movie, which you'll see later in another episode. But yeah, I was watching this, and I probably seen this episode like 20 times, but I haven't seen it for like years. Like I've never actually sat down and watched it.
You've watched this thing 20 times?
Oh my God. I would
Wow.
replay it over and over because I taped them on VHS when I was a kid, and I'd watch them over and over and over again. And I never realized what a complete fucking asshole he is. I mean, he's a movie director, he's kind of good looking. He's like a man child. He's got his little man cave with his sodas and his movie posters and his waterbed.
He's got a soda fountain set up. Oh, yeah.
But he is probably the douchiest Columbo murderer. I think maybe William Shatner may be worse, but he is. You just really want to slap the shit out of him. I mean, he is a real entitled prick. But what a perfect reason to commit murder. He has a great motive that he accidentally killed somebody in the past.
Yeah. Yeah,
Apparently,
so I guess the how the episode begins. A childhood friend, his name's Lenny. I can't think of the last name. Decides to visit Alex and I guess confront him that he found out because a mutual friend of theirs had died and gave him some footage of his sister, that's Lenny's sister, dying on set or during the filming of a movie that Alex was doing, and that Alex was aware of the death, but instead running away, letting her die, and letting the accident be reported as an accident, and that he had nothing to do with it. And so the brother, when he saw this film, became very upset.
And so what does he do, as most normal people would do? He flies from Albany to L.A. to confront Alex with this, and of course Alex ends up killing him. Word to the wise, if you ever find a film that shows anybody killing somebody, don't go and confront that person privately.
And hide it with your groceries.
Yeah, bring it to the police, bring it to the press, bring it to whoever you want.
Say what you want. Yeah, what I would have done differently, which everybody will do in these stories. They'll like what I would have done, but what I would have done is I would have said, Alex, here's the proof. I've got the originals, and in a week they're in the mail, and in a week they will. If I don't return home, they're going out.
Yeah. Yeah, Lenny was kind of dumb. He really had it coming. I know, I shouldn't say that.
That's
no,
horrible.
he just came across as a real schlub. I mean, even the way that they dressed him with his rooster tie and his his jacket, and he just came off as this clumsy poor guy. And yeah, he was pretty dumb. Our Lenny. And the way that Alex kills him, of course, is by bringing him out to the Universal, what do you call that? Not the set, the lot where they have all the fake
studio tour.
Yeah, and at night when no one's around, after ordering a truck to come out and wet down the street, chase him around that, which is just, yeah.
And it was so bizarre. It was very Nightmare on Elm Street kind of chase. Like he would be to the left of Lenny, and then Lenny would look around and he'd shut up on the right, and he would just appear, and then Lenny would open a door and it was a brick wall. I'm like, this is really surreal.
Yeah, all he needed was the big long fingernails scratching along the wall.
Right.
But basically, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So early in the episode, they introduced this. I find absolutely bizarre. They introduced this technology that does not exist then and is just now starting to exist today. Is the 3D hologram.
Yep.
Why did they introduce? I thought for sure that was going to play a role. Either they were going to trick Alex somehow with it or something, but it's just there. It makes no sense, and it's based off technology that, like I said, did not exist back then, and we've got very basic, rudimentary kind of skills to it now. It's just, most of the stuff in Columbo is real. It's based off real stuff. You might have an automobile. You'd have a gun. You might have a recording device, camera setup. But this is totally fictional. It seems so out of place.
Aren't you glad that it really didn't have anything to do with the plot, though? I mean, that it was just a thing that they were working on. But why they had to bring it up, I don't know.
And it was never used again.
Yeah,
it was used twice.
Yeah.
One to introduce it, and then there's another part where he shows Columbo the technology, and that's it.
I don't know, but maybe there's a sliver of a chance that was actually something that Universal was working on at the time, and they decided to put it in here, and then eventually it just fell through. I don't know. Interesting. And by the way, when he shows it to Columbo, do you know what Columbo says? Did you hear what he said? You can reach out. You can almost reach out and touch her. I'm like, no, Columbo. You don't be sexy. Don't try to be sexy.
I didn't pick up that it was being sexy. I didn't know. I didn't see that.
You can almost reach out and touch her. I'm like,
and then he said, and Alex says, yes, you can. So holograms that you can touch, that's technology that definitely does not exist even today. So
speaking of the way that things were said, I wrote down on my notes. This has got nothing to do with anything, but when Lenny confronts Alex and he tells him that their mutual friend Buddy died.
Yeah.
He said, yeah, hepatitis. Well, I had to rewind it because I thought that he said he had potatoes.
What? Potatoes? No.
He had potatoes. He had potatoes.
So hepatitis. I'm pretty sure it's a bloodborne disease or he screwed a prostitute and he got the bad results.
Yeah, Buddy probably was a fucking douche too.
Well, no, he was a douche because he never told his friend.
Yeah, it's true.
He knew the whole time.
Yeah.
Buddy's just as guilty, but I mean, he's gone now. I can't do anything about that.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, there's something. Okay, the way that Columbo figures out that it's Alex is the lamest clue ever. Okay, apparently. Oh, that's right. After Alex electrocutes Lenny, he puts the body in the trunk of his car, and all we see is a sledgehammer. I didn't remember this at all.
Oh my god, that was horrific.
Yeah, so they obviously don't show this. They just talk about it later. He brings the body out to a beach and takes the sledgehammer.
Always the beach.
Yeah, takes the sledgehammer and pounds his face in with it so that nobody will recognize him.
That's dark. Yeah, okay. yeah. They do a quick shot of what's in his trunk, and there's a huge sledgehammer. I'm like, that's kind of weird. And you find out later the body was unrecognizable. I'm like, oh my god.
What kind of a person does that? Not to mention the fact that while he was actually killing Lenny, it seemed like he was enjoying it a little bit too much. The way that he chased him around, and then actually as Lenny's being electrocuted, he's putting on gloves and kind of like smirking. Like, man, I mean, that guy's evil.
That was his jack-off gloves, by the way.
Oh, God, yes. But, So Columbo figures it's him, and I think that Columbo knew that he was the killer before he even showed up.
I felt like Columbo knew from the very beginning, but the thing I like to discuss with you is when did Columbo find out, or when did Columbo put the pieces together? So it's kind of hard with this one because it almost felt like Columbo was playing with him the whole time from the very beginning. So when do you think Columbo figured it out?
I think it was before he even met him. I think it was as soon as he found the book, the films of Alex Brady, and it had his private telephone number in it.
Yeah.
At his office number. I think that was probably, maybe he was 75% sure. And then probably by the time that he talked to him, I would say by the second time he talked to him, he was 100% sure. But I can't remember what the second conversation was about with him. But yeah,
there was a scene that I thought was totally out of character for Peter Falk as Columbo, and that's the scene where he visits. And he annoys the suspects as much as he can. It seems. So there's a scene where Columbo goes and he tells Alex about the death of his friend, and so of course Alex has to pretend like he's flabbergasted and he's surprised, and so Alex just has to go and do what he needs to do, and so he leaves Columbo alone, and Columbo says, "Can I stay? Because I want to make myself an ice cream soda." That seemed really weird. Like, why would he be so interested in making himself a club soda or whatever Sunday soda? I don't even know.
Yeah, an ice cream sundae, an ice cream soda. Yeah. I don't know, but I thought it was meant to be funny, and I thought it was funny because I was actually thinking about using this clip at the beginning of the show, is that he says, "Well, I got one more thing I really hate to ask under the circumstances," and then Alex just gets mad and says, "They're my circumstances, not yours. Please ask the question. Can I have an ice cream sundae?" And then Alex leaves him alone in there.
Well, and I thought Columbo. Now he takes the opportunity. Well, one, that's a weird reason to stay around, but I thought for sure Columbo would find the broken glass and pick that up and use fingerprints off that, because there was a scene earlier when I guess he first meets Alex and he sees the sundaes. They are not the sundaes, the whatever they are, the soda, ice cream sodas. And he sees two glasses, and he notices it right off the bat. Like, it's weird. Obviously, someone drank half of theirs, and someone didn't drink hardly any of their. So it must have been there must have been something that was going on where the other person didn't drink it. It's a day old. He was noticing the cream had gotten hard or whatever. So I honestly thought that would have been a scene where he would have picked up on that glass, because Alex, after that initial scene, got upset that those glasses were left out, so he threw them into the sink and they, shattered.
Yeah. And by the way, who does that? Who throws glasses around when they're angry? That's the sign of a fucking psychopath.
Well, yeah, but Alex is supposed to be kind of a man-child. He's just
that's true.
He's immature. I mean, even not Rose, the other his secretary.
Rose.
It is Rose. Picks up on that. I'm old and he's young, and he's he's not experienced in certain things, but whatever. So I thought that was really interesting. I thought for sure Columbo would pick up on that broken glass. Well, would have gotten fingerprints.
Well, presumably he would have gotten rid of the broken glass by the second time Columbo was there. But I thought of fingerprints too, but that's easier said than done, because in order for you to pick up, like, Lenny would have had to have been arrested for them to get his fingerprints. But they also could have gone to his apartment and gotten his prints there, But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. Yeah, you're right, but that would be almost too easy to place him there. And the clues that he reveals, with the how does he prove that Lenny was there? Oh, the shoe. The shoe, that's right.
The heel, yeah. So Alex has this beautiful man club, is what they call it. Well, we would today call it man cave.
The boys club. Yeah.
Man, I wish I had that. It was so cool. It had video games. It had a train set, a soda fountain, bar.
Yep. A water bed.
Okay, yeah. So, and bean bags, by the way. But I definitely thought that when Columbo was laying down in the waterbed, when Alex invites him to lay on the waterbed, I'm like, there's got to be so much human fluid on that. I would not have laid down on it. But, Mr. Columbo apparently wanted to buy one point.
And he says, well, it makes me think makes me wonder what Mrs. Columbo had in mind.
Oh, God.
Ew. This is not the first time we've seen Columbo enamored with a train set.
No, so yeah. I actually wanted to bring that up. So you and I do another podcast, the TARDIS Tavern. And we, as an April Fool's joke, reviewed, what was the name of it?
The Bye Bye Sky High IQ murder case.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's a train set on that one. And I definitely thought of that. Speaking of which, if you want to listen to the TARDIS Tavern, feel free to do so. But so we did that episode, and I definitely thought, well, Columbo must really like trains.
Turns out, yeah. And pinball machines.
I like the pinballs. Yeah. So I just want to mention, since you brought it up, pinballs. So the two arcade games is, or I can't think of the second one, but the first one is Joust. Do you remember Joust?
Yep. Is that it's with the ostriches, right?
Ostriches, yes.
Yeah.
I hate that game so much.
I hated it too. Yeah. I don't remember why I hated it, but I remember hating it.
I think it was Star Castle. No, the other game was Star Castle. That's right.
Yes, that's correct. With Alfred Hitchcock in between the two of them.
Oh yes, a life mask of Alfred Hitchcock. I do actually, since we brought Alfred Hitchcock's face mask up, there is a life mask of Peter Falk on eBay. I was thinking about buying it for you.
Are you serious? Are you serious, really?
Yes. It's so creepy.
The way you just said that, it's so creepy.
It is.
You sound like the guy from Fargo. She's such a super lady. You're such a super lady. Okay. Yeah, sure. My birthday's coming up. Definitely. Peter Falk face mask.
Life
life mask.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it. Where were we here?
Ice cream sodas.
Ice cream sodas, yeah. I know we're not talking about the actual content of the episode, but the first time that Columbo meets Alex, he actually does the thing where he walks out and then he comes back in, and he walks out and he comes back in. I noticed the first time he comes back, his fly's open. It's not completely open, but you can definitely see...
Wait, Peter Fox?
Yes. It's open about maybe...
Oh god, I'm gonna have to watch it again.
There's a far shot, there's a two shot with him and Alex, and you can definitely see, it's not obvious, it's subtle, but there's just a little bit of white where you can see it's either his underwear or it's his shirt peeking through the zipper. So the zipper wasn't all the way up. I do not think it was intentional, but I'm just saying. And by the way, if you watch that whole scene closely, his tie continually changes. It goes from, you know how I noticed they do this in the 90s episodes. His tie, the skinny part of the tie is always longer than the fat part of the tie that goes in front. Well, when he left, apparently he took his tie off very quickly and put it on the right way, because when he came back in, it was suddenly normal. Just saying. Hashtag just saying. Yeah. This has nothing to do with the plot or the mystery or whatever, but yeah.
That reminds me, about 2 weeks ago, I went to work, and apparently I was walking around the office the whole day with my zipper down, and nobody told me. Just saying.
Yeah. One time I went to the bathroom at work and came out, and I was like doing stuff, and I'm talking to this lady, and she goes, Sean, you may want to notice your belt is open. I had gone to the bathroom, zipped my fly up and all that, but just left my belt unbuckled. So I just had this belt flapping around and didn't notice. Anyway,
so that's actually a clue in this episode. So
speaking of belts,
so Lenny
Jones.
Lenny wears a belt that has a secret compartment that has some, and that's actually the big break. That's how Columbo figures out it's this guy named Lenny.
Yeah,
because before it's a John Doe. And yeah, so I used to have a belt like that. It's really useful, and it kind of reminded me of traveler's checks. I haven't heard of that in a long time.
They're still around.
Are they?
I had this conversation maybe about a year ago with somebody that, traveler's checks are still a thing. I didn't know that those belts were a thing. Mm-hmm. I thought they made that up, but that's cool. That's interesting. I did not realize that.
So there's a scene about midway through where I felt like it was just fluff. It was just to prolong the episode for about 3 minutes.
Can I guess which one it was?
Yes,
because
please.
I wrote something down about it. Is it the scene between Alex and Ruthie when they're sitting and eating ice cream?
No,
Okay.
Actually, I thought that was great.
Oh my god!
I wish Alex would ask me out on a date, because that's exactly what I want. No, the scene with the armature where so Alex is like trying to view a scene, and this big arm raises him up. So Columbo comes and he joins him on the seat.
Oh yeah.
And it's up left, back, down right, and it just come on. It's like literally 3 minutes, and it was just agonizing.
And they played the music.
Yeah.
What is that? That Danube waltz or whatever.
And I thought Columbo was going to puke over the side any second.
I thought that was funny. I liked that. I know it was fluff, but I liked it.
Really? That took me out of the episode. I did not like that.
So you didn't like that, but you liked the scene between Alex and Ruthie eating ice cream and chatting about their previous relationship while the cheesy 90s romance music plays.
I was totally fine with that. But did you notice that Ruth never touched her sundae?
Oh, yeah.
And,
that's right.
And Alex has a total sugar fixation. I mean, what? Were they trying to like compare him? He was a child mentally.
I think so. Yeah.
Because even
totally. I mean, look at the man cave that he has.
Yeah. There was a scene where Ruth confronts Alex about, I know you set up the taxi cab. with one of your actors, and that you had set up for me to meet, my co-star, so we'd have a relationship. And so she gets mad. She leaves Alex, and Columbo, of course, walks in, and he says, "Oh, I brought this candy bar for you, sir. I'm just gonna lay it right here because I know how much you enjoy these."
Yeah, it's a total throwaway line. It's just like right there. I know you have a sweet tooth. Here. Yeah.
I mean, what was the point of that? It was silly.
It was just there, and there's Columbo has a little theme going in this. He's got a couple different themes. First of all, is that everywhere he goes, he's got something in a brown paper bag to show Alex.
That's every episode. He's always got a paper bag. It's like, does he have a tuna fish sandwich in there, or what's he got going on?
And I don't remember the last time I've seen him look through his pockets, and there was he was looking for a copy of Lenny's driver's license, and he pulls out a bunch of like crumpled up paper, and I think there was even some used tissue in there. He goes, "Here it is, sir." Oh, gross. But yeah. All right, so I about halfway through, I'm like, well, maybe I should do some research, for our little Columbo podcast here, and see who directed this. So the guy that directed this, his name is James Frawley, and I'm sure you've heard of him, right?
Nope.
Well, that's okay. Neither have I. He directed 2 really popular movies from the 70s. Uh-huh. Okay. And when I say popular, I'm being serious about one, but not the other. He directed the Muppet movie.
The first one?
Yeah, it never occurred to you like, oh, who directed the Muppet movie? Well, the answer is James Frawley, for those of you who are wondering.
Oh, so he did the whole scene with the Kermit on the log in the swamp?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he directed that.
What
Well, actually,
scene.
he did the whole movie, actually. But he also directed a movie called The Big Bus from 1976.
Never heard
Are you familiar? Oh, my God. Oh,
Bus.
Wow. Yeah, it's about a big bus, a big, giant, huge bus, and it's got like all these it goes on like a trip. And I remember as a kid my mom was like, "Oh, the big bus is going to be on TV, Sean, you should watch it, you'll like it." I don't remember what happens in it. It's kind of like It's a Mad World. Have you ever seen that movie?
No, but I know of it.
It's got a bunch of aging movie stars in it, like I think maybe Lucille Ball is in it, Ned Beatty, although he wasn't aging back then. It's just a really stupid, like they'd have those disaster movies like Poseidon Adventure and
like the earthquake thing.
Yeah. They'd always put in these. They'd always have like put a bunch of like really famous movie stars in there, and which one's going to survive. It was like that, except it was a comedy. They weren't dying, but it was they were all traveling in this big bus. Anyway, just saying. I don't know. Interesting.
So Dog makes an appearance in this.
Oh yeah, that's right. I felt happy for you because Dog makes
Dog.
an
I
appearance.
love Dog. Yes. Apparently, Dog's a pig because he's like, "You've already eaten today. I'm not going to give you any more, but here, have a bone."
Yeah. And he almost gives him a kiss. I'm like, kiss him on the head, Columbo. Kiss him on the head. No kisses. No
Dog.
kisses.
It's funny. Before I watched this episode, I was watching some YouTube videos of Peter Falk. And there was an interview from the BBC. So Peter Falk had retired from this character at this point. Mm-hmm. And he was doing his art. He's doing his drawings. And the interviewer asked him about Dog. And it was really interesting. I mean, it's on YouTube. Look it up. But, I love seeing Dog, even though he's in there for literally a minute. It's nice.
And it's also the way that Columbo treats Dog. It's just like, all right, you want a bone? Here you go. Oh, there's some great Dog moments that you haven't seen that are wonderful.
Nice.
I think there's one. There is one episode in which Dog becomes like the reason that he solves the crime. But
what? Really?
What it is. Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Dog accidentally stumbles upon something that helps Columbo solve it. Not going to say what it is, though.
So there's some artistic license that's going on in this episode. I've noticed that with the 90s stuff, there seems to be what was the one we reviewed where it was an artist with the multiple wives?
Oh, Murderous Self-Portrait.
Yes.
With Patrick Butcher.
So there's a scene where there's a dream sequence and Columbo's in that. So in this one, there's another kind of artsy fartsy kind of scene.
What's that?
Artsy fartsy?
No. What's the scene?
So it's a scene where Alex is taking him to a fence. And he's like, I am the master of illusion. You're the master of whatever. I can create whatever I want, and let me show you. And so there's a lot of shadows and shit like that.
Yeah, not a fan.
You didn't like that?
I didn't. Did you like it?
No, I didn't, because it didn't make much sense.
No, it didn't. And he's standing there talking to him for a while, and he's like, Columbo, let me show you something. Hank! And then somebody just turns a light on and knows to show, okay, maybe it's a magic trick with lighting, whatever, that's fine, but the fact that he just goes completely batshit for a second, that's kind of cool. But other than, because it looks like they're on either side of a fence, and then all of a sudden, Columbo appears on Alex's side of the fence as if he caught him at something, and I guess that's kind of cool. But yeah, I could have done without the hocus pocus. And there's another scene, but I think we should talk about it later.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I know it's exactly what you're talking about.
So
there's a scene where, at the very beginning of the episode, where we were introduced to the 3D hologram crap. By the way, I'm sorry. The actor who played Stan, who was Alex's assistant that turns it on, his name is, I swear to God, I love this name, Time Winters. That's his name, Time Winters. That poor child. Oh my God, he must have
I love that name. That's an awesome
hippie
name.
Parents had to be beatnik parents. But
beatnik. What was this beatnik?
Well, during that time period, it had to be.
Dad from the '60s. You beatnik kids.
It was before the hippies. Before hippies was beatniks. Now,
that's true. That's right.
Now it's face beards. But anyways, so okay, so there's a scene where so Alex turns on this big projector-looking thing. I don't know what it's called, and he tells the guy to act in front of it, like it's a windy scene, and the guy's, and it's a beautiful thing. It looks like a thunderstorm, beautiful. So the guy's acting. He's, he's holding his arms together, shaking, and he goes, I don't remember what he said exactly, but it's something like, you're not an actor.
Don't quit your day job or something like that. Yeah.
But when Columbo is faced with the same situation, when Columbo's kind of meddling around and he comes into the studio, I like how Alex doesn't say anything, but we're basically seeing Columbo act in front of Alex, giving him, a story, giving him something to get him to open up. And I thought that was really kind of deep. Because his time in front of that big screen, Columbo was playing him, I think, at that point. Definitely was playing him at that point. I think he knew, definitely.
Yeah, that's a good point. There was a huge error, by the way, in a line that I guess nobody caught. The Secretary Rose, she was complaining about the fact that Alex or somebody had ordered a truck to water down the street the night of the murder. And she says, I don't know why they would do that, because we don't shoot for 6 months. And then the very next day, they're shooting on the wet street. And then that's the scene where Columbo gets in the air, in the whatever that's called, the thing that you were talking about before.
Yeah, the armature thing.
Yeah.
I thought it was strange. So there's a point where Columbo is walking around the street studio, whatever that's called, and he finds the heel of the person of Lenny. That was weird. I had no idea what he was picking up, because at first I thought, is that a wallet? Did he pick up the wallet? Until we found out later that the heel literally melted off the poor bastard.
Yeah.
I think
that was a good clue. That was a solid clue. That was
I think at that point, I think at that point Columbo definitely knew. I found the heel missing. There was 2 shoes, obviously a pair of shoes, but one of them was missing a heel, and here it is on the studio. Yeah.
And what's really nice about that scene is that we never have Columbo nobody explains to Columbo, like, oh, this is how electricity works, whatever. in that scene, he sees that they've got something plugged in there. He sees that there's electricity around. He sees the metal fence. In fact, he even touches it, and then he finds the heel.
Wait, can I ask you something?
What's that?
Did you jump when
Yes!
Columbo touched the fence? I did.
Yes.
I don't know why, but I jumped.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Good, solid stuff. So later on in the episode, Ruth, in the subplot that was there that we really didn't need. Well, actually, no, we did. It sort of cemented the fact that Alex is a fucking douche. She more or less breaks up with him, okay, at his house. All right. And by the way, before I go on, can we talk about his house? Not only is it like, it looks like a 90s pimp lives there, but it doesn't look like he should live there. Like, it doesn't have any of the little stuff the stuff that he has in his like office or whatever, his goof off room. But the doors to his house are like glass doors that you would get
An
when
office
you like
building.
go to the or like the Apple store or something. Oh. But so she breaks up with him and she walks out and he basically bumps into her, walking in. And Columbo does this a lot. He just walks in places. Apparently Alex doesn't have any locks on his house doors. But I don't know. Maybe that was a courtyard outside. I don't know. But glass house much? I mean, all the walls were glass. Did you see that?
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a horrible. No, that's a horror. I wouldn't want to live in a glass house. I couldn't throw stones. Well,
So Columbo invites another detective to bring a taxi driver who's from Iran. So I thought that was a
Mr. Kardashian or Kardashian
He was
or something like
Kardashian.
that. Yeah. This is before there were Kardashians.
Oh, that would be definitely a better world then. Yeah. But I like how Columbo says, "Well, I hope things are going better for you now." So,
yeah. But the fact that he brings these people into his house to explain it to him.
If someone had brought some weird strangers into my house, I'd be like, no, you gotta leave.
Yeah, my girlfriend just broke up with me. I'm really upset. And he shows up with not only does Columbo show up, but he shows up with two complete strangers that have to, and he makes this big, huge production of, this is Mr. Kardashian and blah, 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 blah. And he saw Mr. Lenny on the day, it's unrealistic, I know, but it just made me laugh. It's just so perfect.
I like that Columbo cock-blocked Alex twice.
Really? Twice?
Twice, yeah. During
When's
the
the first
Sunday, when Alex made Ruth a Sunday, he came in on that scene, and then
that's right.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Poor Alex. But why did Alex? That was a weird clue. I didn't understand why Alex set up the meeting with the taxi cab driver, Ruth, and Brian, the other star. I didn't understand that.
Okay, the reason, and it's really kind of stupid. Okay, the reason that the character had was because he was probably into method acting, and he wanted her to be genuinely in love with this guy so that their romantic moments in the film they were doing would come across more. Mm-hmm. But for the purposes of the big picture, the whole episode of Columbo, it was just to come across that he was a manipulator and, again, a fucking douchebag. And also to bring home the fact that what Columbo does later on to catch him, mm-hmm. and totally saving that for later, very shortly, we'll get to that, that, he uses the same trick that Alex does in, manipulating people. Because he does it again to Columbo with the two ladies, the bridesmaid and the
yes.
And I'm not buying it. I just don't like it. It's just too tenuous. Like, okay, well, could you have two ladies talk about Lenny? Mm-hmm. And how did he know that Columbo would be at the diner at that time? How was he able to? I don't know. I'm willing to forgive it.
I like that Columbo wanted Tabasco sauce, ketchup, and mustard. What the hell was he eating?
It was a burger. I actually looked. It was a burger. He had a burger and fries. I thought it was going to be chili, but no.
Yeah, right. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Love Tabasco sauce. So
there's a kind of a subplot where Alex is he's trying to do a movie, like you said, 6 months, and then his boss or the guy,
Mr. Morosco. Mr. Morosco.
Mr. Morosco says, "I need this film by Easter," and the guy's like, "No, I can't do it. And he makes him like a paperclip necklace, which again, he's a man child. Who makes a paperclip necklace? So later, towards the end of the episode, Morosco says, "You're out. You can spend as much time as you want on this movie. I own it, and it'll never be published."
Yep.
And that's hard. I mean, I cannot imagine someone saying that.
They did a really good job because there's only 2 scenes with Mr. Morosco. And the first scene, he's in his office and he's kind of sitting there kind of like, I'm just a hardworking guy. And Alex, and when he tells Alex we need the movie for summer, Alex basically says something to just shrug it off like, Mr. Morosco, you can tell him so-and-so. You're in charge of it. No problem. Okay, bye. And then just Morosco just delivers the stab later on when he tells him in his limousine, like, I'm not going to make your fucking movie. You're done.
Yeah, I own your film and it's never going to happen.
Yeah, it's nice. It was nice. That was a nice scene. I liked that. Was it needed? No. But it was, it wasn't.
No.
Yeah,
there seemed to be a lot of fluff in this particular episode.
But I didn't mind it. I really did not mind it. I mean, I could pick out the fluff, but unlike the last one that we did, Etude in Black, the subplot with the boyfriend, the blonde boyfriend, that was for me too much. But in this, I didn't mind it at all, except for the scene where he and Ruthie are eating ice creams and they play the cheesy 90s music.
Oh God, I wish I had an ice cream soda fountain thing. God, that'd be so awesome.
I don't like ice cream, so I really don't.
Really? I didn't know that about
I mean, I like ice cream, but I'm not one of these people that like craves it. Like I could buy it and never eat it. I just like, bacon or fast food, fucking
Really? Huh.
But sweets, no, except for gummy bears. Like gummy bears. Anyway, so all right, I think we have to talk about the elephant in the room here. I think we have to talk about the ending of this.
Yes.
Okay, so Alex and Rose, his secretary, go to lunch, and Rose mentions that Lenny called the office. She wrote it in the book.
Right. That was the big clue right there, that he did contact him. Yeah.
Yeah, and that the page was missing from the book.
Yeah.
From the log. And, well, that's right. He also says to her at the beginning, I've skipped this, that he wants to, it's time for her to retire. Or he basically is
I love that scene. Her. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so, and then he says, well, Rose, don't quit. You should stay on. And she's like, well, I've always thought about, taking a cruise around the world. He's like, no problem. On me, no problem, Rose. Just being as fucking disgusting. I hate him so much.
Well, let's say this. I mean, the actor
Fisher Stevens.
Alex. Oh yeah, Fisher Stevens. Alex, whatever. He played it so well. I want to say, okay, yes, you hate the character, but it's because of his impeccable acting skills. He's such a douche. I just want to say that. I mean, yeah, I hated him too, but I mean, Fisher Stevens, what a great actor.
Yeah, he is probably the best thing that he's ever done. I'm sorry.
not as the guy from the Indian guy from Short Circuit. Okay, nice.
I'm gonna have to look that up now. But so then we cut, and then later on, he goes back to his warehouse where he's got his film stuff, and Columbo. This conversation that he has with Rose, Columbo says it's basically an admission of guilt. Mm-hmm. No, it's not. It is not an admission of guilt. He doesn't say, yeah, I killed Lenny, and to shut you up, take a vacation on me. That would be an admission of guilt. No, it's just all subtext. And there's nothing there that would convict him of murder. It's bullshit. Okay, and then to add, to pour, lemon juice in the wound, Columbo reveals this, and I don't know. I'm in two minds about this. Part of me thinks that maybe this was all just in Alex's head, the way it was presented to him. Mm-hmm. But he presents it, he's like, oh, and playing the waitress at the restaurant is Sergeant so-and-so. And the bartender, your favorite actress, Ruthie Jurgensen. That was horrible and stupid and unrealistic and completely out of character for anything that's ever been on Columbo.
Really? Yeah, I had not seen anything like that before.
It's a terrible ending, and I get the part where, we see Alex looking at Columbo, and Columbo takes a bow dressed as a ringmaster. Like,
yes,
he sees...
what was that about?
Well,
that
that's because...
I have a problem with. That was nuts.
Okay, well, obviously, Columbo is not literally dressed like a ringmaster, but that's from Alex's point of view. Like, to him, Columbo's putting on a show. Right. Okay? And and Columbo is the ringmaster of all this shit. Unlike,
I didn't like
almost
I didn't
like
like
he's
the
taking it away.
Crap,
yeah, it was a little bit too surreal. And whether or not Columbo was announcing all these people and the lights were showing on them or not, I don't know if that really happened or if that was all in Alex's head. I don't know, but I didn't like it. And I also didn't like that would be the clincher. That just does not. Well, that's not a really good killer clue.
My impression was that Columbo and Alex kind of compared their professions. When Alex would ask, well, you're a detective. There must be a lot of interesting things. And Columbo would say, no, really, it's really boring. Blah blah blah. When Columbo would ask about Alex's profession, he said the same thing. It's really boring. You wouldn't find it that interesting. So I think it's poignant to say that Columbo knew what his job was, and that he was not only was he able to understand what Alex was doing, but have complete control. And in the scene where with the fence and the shadows and crap, where, gosh, it's hard to express over audio, but there's a scene where they're walking on either side of this shadow fence, which doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. And Alex would then be on the same side as Columbo, and then be back on his side. Like, you'd I'm in control here. But Columbo would do his scene, and then he would be on Alex's side, almost saying, I'm in control too. And I felt like the end of this episode was Columbo saying, I'm in control now. I see what's going on, and I'm it's silly. It's really silly.
Like, I know that you tried to fool me in the diner with those two actresses. Yeah. Now I'm going to pull one on you.
And I pulled something on my diner. Yeah. Yeah. He beat him at his own game, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess that's okay. You're absolutely right. I agree 100%. I just think it could have been done differently or done better.
Yeah.
The clue that he gives right before that, involving the fact that the tour ticket that Lenny took,
right,
is just minutes before or after not minutes, but right. It was not long after his flight came in. Mm-hmm. That was a good clue. You could almost end with that clue. That could have been the killer clue. So, and there's also another thing. I wrote this down. The most hilarious line in the entire movie or episode or whatever you want to call it is from Ruth. And by the way, I don't think that anybody under the age of 25 should be named Ruth. Okay. But maybe that's because that's my grandmother's name. But okay, she says to him when she breaks up with him, "You make your little puppets dance the dance of love." It was so hokey. Anyway, I just had to say that. You make your little puppets dance the dance of love.
Nice.
Okay. So go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So let's review this sucker. Okay. What would you say out of 1,273? What would you rate this?
1,273.
Yes.
Let's see. I'm gonna give it a 1,018.
Okay, that's nice.
This is the third 90s episode we've done. It's probably my favorite. No, it is my favorite of the three. The better of the three. If you lop off that last part This is actually pretty perfect. I mean, you've got all your elements here. You've got your douchebag murderer that delivers in spades. Fisher Stevens is great, as you said. I agree totally. You've got a lot of Columbo-ish things going on. You've got Dog. You've got him, being irritating. You've got some good, decent clues, with the possible exception of the convenient book that dropped off the dead body. It's pretty solid stuff up until the last 5 minutes. When it just, I don't know, it was like filming was the next day, so somebody drank a big bottle of Jack Daniels and wrote that out. I don't know. But, yeah, that's what I think. I think it was pretty damn good.
It was a good score, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have to agree with you. This is a really fun episode. Mm-hmm. The last 5 minutes, me. I liked the villain, Alex. I thought he was... Oh man, he was such a douchebag.
Yeah.
He was fun. You love to hate him, basically.
Yeah. He was probably, out of the ones that we've seen, he was probably the worst human being out of all the ones that we've seen. I have to think. Let's see. Well, the artist from episode 2 was pretty bad, but he was just a misogynist and thought was. I'm gonna have to say I think that he's probably the worst human being. I think Alex
Brady or Fisher Stevens. I perfectly acted. I don't know if people agree with that, but I think he's really good. I really liked him. He was such an idiot, and not an idiot. He was smart. I shouldn't say idiot, but he was smart. But you loved to hate the guy, and you really wanted to see him get caught by Columbo.
And Columbo even says the only pleasure that I've had in this case is
catching you.
Yeah. Alex Brady's little round bubble butt is going to get a lot of action back in the prison.
Dear Lord. Okay. I
went there, sir. I went there.
But yeah, the last 5 minutes, there was, again, that artsy-fartsy kind of thing with the backgrounds, changing and stuff like that, and Columbo being in a ring circus master outfit, which I didn't quite understand. That seemed really out of place. But I really liked it. I'm gonna give it about out of 1,273. I think I'm gonna give it about a 1,100.
Really? Wow. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I really liked it.
All right, so we're on the same page about this one. Wow.
Surprisingly,
okay.
There were issues, but I think overall the enjoyment was up there.
Yeah. Would you say that this is as good? Because you've been very not too positive there about the '90s episodes. Would you say this is your favorite '90s one so far?
That we have discussed, yes, but there are better. Okay. There are better ones out there.
Yeah. There are. Okay. All right. It's almost like they turn up the douchiness level on the murderers in the '91s, don't they? There's not much subtlety there, but it's still really good. Actually,
I would love to hear if Spielberg ever saw this episode.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I think the answer is probably. I think that he probably is a fan. All right, so now it's time for
feedback.
Steve.
What?
Oh, yeah, that's right. We don't have any feedback. Because as of this recording, only 2 of our episodes have dropped. Mm-hmm. But we've got good numbers. And before we spin the swinging wheel of the 70s to find out what we're doing next.
Well, thank God, a 70s episode. I love those.
We can talk about... first of all, podcast is brand new. People seem to be downloading it. Do us a favor, folks. If you've been listening to this is 6 episodes in. If you've been listening to all 6, I'm assuming that you like it. Take a moment out of your time. Go in there into the iTunes podcast app or online or whatever, and give us a nice review. I'm not talking about a written review. You can give us a star review. You don't have to write a written.
Too. Yeah.
You can also do written. Yeah, you're encouraged to do that. But as of this recording, we do not have 10 reviews yet. So we're not going to come up in the algorithms that the Apple people use to determine, and all that. So it makes us feel better, and it does the podcast good. Also, You can look for us on Facebook. It doesn't post a lot. I don't post a lot on there. I just put up, every time an episode comes out, I put it up on there. But right now, I think, I don't know how many people are following us on Facebook, but also Twitter. Mm-hmm. Just look for Columbo Confab. There's 12 followers on Twitter. Yay! I should just, yeah. Follow us there. And you also send us email to columboconfab@gmail.com. And unless it's defamatory and insulting, well, you know what? Even if it is, we'll read it. We'll respond to it.
Absolutely.
We won't respond to the email itself, but we'll read it in the podcast and talk about it. So we look forward to that. Unless we get 10 million emails, which I don't predict we will. So I don't think the Columbo fans are quite that common or rabid. But okay. So with that being said, looking forward to looking ahead to episode 7. Steve, could you please spin the swinging wheel of the 70s so we can find out what we'll be talking about next?
All right, here we go. Can't wait.
And it is going to be... Any Old Port in a Storm.
I love that episode. Okay, I'll let you know I've seen it. But it's one of my favorites. Yeah, I love that episode. Spoilers. That's one of my faves, yeah.
Okay. That is a very highly regarded episode and also very popular. So, we'll be talking about that next week.
And we'll be drinking wine while we watch it, too. So.
Oh, I totally will be drinking wine. I mean, watching that, I craved wine, I think. So... All right, everybody. Until next time, good night.